Hey y'all, it's Nancy. Thanks for joining me again today. This is the sweet, non-traditional Valentine's Day card we were going to make. However, technology gremlins, as they are, ate my footage, and this is all I have of that card. So, adapt and overcome, time to make something new, thinking on our feet. So this one is very similar, but obviously not the same. Both of them, however, are inspired by beautiful mixes from Lisa over at This Calls for Confetti. So we're starting with this beautiful pattern paper from Whimsy Stamps. Of course, everything is from Whimsy and will be listed and linked downstairs. And the paper is beautiful by itself. Like, it really is glorious. And I'll show it up close in a little bit so you can see all the detail just on the paper. But I like a lot of layers, and I like pattern, and I like texture. So I'm using this beautiful shiplap stamp just for some mark making, using some inks from my stash. And now I have this sweet stencil. It is called Twinkle stencil, and I'm putting some glitter paste through that, and I'm going to set that aside to dry while we start working on the next piece, which is the sentiment. So I die cut the words "I love us" out of 2 different layers of the pattern paper with the Cutie ABC die set. Love this die set. I love this sentiment. And when you saw the card in the beginning. I started to say when you see the stamp. So it's these sweet penguins. I mean, sweet. Okay, we get it. They just are like little friends, and they're having a good time, and I love it. And if I was one of them, I would say, I love us. We're just sweet and we're cute. And so I thought that sentiment was perfect, and it could be for friends, it could be husband to a wife, wife to a husband, child to their parents, I don't know, in any way you wanted to use this card. But I call it non-traditional because it doesn't evoke Valentine's, right? When you look at this, it just looks like fun, maybe some winter whimsy, as it were. But yeah, so non-traditional, but really, I've said before that you can make any image into whatever occasion you want it for, just depending on how you color it and how you use it. So using my Caron Brush Marker Pros, using my, this is actually a tempered cutting board that I use for my work surface, but using it as my paint palette, and I just scribble out the pigments, and I dip it in water, and then I just go to town. So again, you can see that I have the Blurry Flurries 1 mix up there in the left corner, and that is where I'm drawing my color palette from. There's some soft pinks and some violets and some lilacs and even some deeper purpley blues. So just coloring it up right here. Now when I'm doing their fur, so I'm laying down some water that has just a little bit of pigment in it, but then I go back in and I touch that marker just to the edge where the deepest, darkest colors would be. So similar to when you're Copic coloring or coloring with your alcohol ink markers, or just wanting to get those deep colors in the nooks and crannies, as it were. That's where I'm touching down that marker, and I'm just letting the water that's already on the paper just pull that pigment out. And when it doesn't move the way I want it to, I just add a touch more water, and I just jiggle it around a little bit with my paintbrush. Now, I did not tell you in the beginning that this is Bristol Smooth paper, and I have to say, for these markers, this is really the only paper that I have success with on these markers. I'm sure it's operator error, but it is what it is. And I think these guys are adorable, and I just really wanted to do them justice. So now, remembering that everything that's white has shadow, so it really has color to it. There are very few things that are actually pure white. And so when I do their bellies, I think of them being round, I think of them being cold, probably dirty. They're kiddos, right? They're probably dirty. So lots of different colors, not just a little bit of gray, not just a little bit of blue. I've got some pink in there, I've got some gray in there, I've got some blue, I've even got some purple. So all those same colors from my palette just mixed into the shadows on their belly. And here I'm just going back to the scarves after I have put a little bit of pinky color on their cheeks and did their beaks and their feet a while ago. But I'm just going back to the scarves and just adding a little bit more depth of color. Because remember, when you're coloring, no matter what your medium, it is all about the layers. So you can see it set off to the side, it's over there drying, and now I am taking this frame from the Quilted Rainbow Inlaid die set and I'm cutting out just the perfect spot of this piece of pattern paper, and then I fussy cut it out because that's just what I typically do. And because this image is going to be sitting down on the very bottom, I want it to match up to that sweet little scallop frame. So I line it up knowing that it's going to be justified to the bottom right, and I run it through my die cutting machine, and then look at that cute little scalloped border right on the edge. And so here I've mounted it to my card base, but I just want you to see, in fact I should have done a still shot, a freeze frame, so you could see all the texture and dimension that's already in this paper. I mean, Whimsy does pattern paper right, y'all. They just do, and it's beautiful. But I mounted my fellas up on some foam tape, and then I layered my letters, and then I mounted them up on top of my card, of course, and it says I love us, and it's very subtle, and I wanted it to be very subtle because I wanted my sweet little images to take center stage, if you will. Now I am using both of these sets of confetti. I wanted to say sequins. No, they're confetti from Lisa over at This Calls for Confetti, because I wanted some of those deeper, richer purpley blues from the Over the Moon with Emma mix. So I'm using both, and you can see that I've got some dragees there in between those two top guys. I just took one off because it was a little bit too big. I wanted them to feel like they were snowballs, right? Like they were maybe throwing snowballs back and forth, and now they're losing their balance and everything's falling. The snowballs are in the air, about to come crashing down, but they are having a good time, and they are loving life, and they are loving Valentine's Day, and they are loving their relationship together. I love us. And now let's take a little bit of a closer look at these mixes. These confetti mixes are just stunning. I think one day I will do just a video on one mix, because there's so much goodness in just one bag that you really just don't see when you're seeing it in a bag, or you're even seeing a close-up picture of the mix. They're beautiful, they're glorious. So as we're about to wrap up, here is the Adapt and Overcome version of our non-traditional Valentine's Day card. See the snowballs in the air? You see them? That's just silly. It's a journey through Nancy's brain. In comparison to this one is a little less monochromatic, and it's just as cute, and you can see all the detail in that pattern paper. But this is actually our bonus card. I'm sure you were thinking that the one I had to remake was the bonus, but no, this is the bonus. It is once again inspired by the confetti mixes, and it's using that same stamp set, and you can see all the different Whimsy products that I have used on that card as well, and I'll have everything listed and linked downstairs. So guys, this is Nancy. Thank you for joining me today for this non-traditional Valentine's Day set of cards, and I hope to see you over on the Whimsy Stamps and Inspiration Facebook group, as well as Pinterest and Instagram. And until next time, I hope to catch you downstairs in the comments as well. I'm Nancy, and I'm out.